Hello and welcome to another episode of In Conversation. My name is Bongani and yes, of course, we are always informative and insightful. And today we're going to be speaking to more about research and the progress of research that is, of course, always happening in the institution. But today we're going to be getting it from the winner of the T.W. Kambule NSTF Research Awards. Hopefully I said it right. I'm joined by Prof Mashifana here in studio to talk more about it. Prof, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Bongani.
Yeah.
It is great to be back here.
Honestly,
it is great to be here.
You're no stranger to the show. Always miss you. So, Prof, you just won the T.W. Kambule NSTF. I think first to understand, it's dubbed the Science Oscars. That means they're big.
Yes, it is actually massive, if I should say that. And for me, because it was the first time I'm nominated, and to make it to the finalist, the truth is I was really not expecting to win the award. You know, so we have actually been joking about it that over the years, what I've observed is that it has always been a female and a male winner. So if you watched the award ceremony, you would have seen that there is another winner, which is a female doing very well in her discipline. Yes. And she was actually called first. And so the expectation was, you know, but I was actually just celebrating to be in that room in the greatness of, in the midst of greatness, the young men, old men and women that are really doing great who were awarded that day. And when my name was called, I was shocked. And so it is really something that it means a lot to me. It means a lot to the work that we are doing in the space or the discipline that we are working in, the circular economy.
And indeed, Prof. And I think for the viewer as well and myself, to try and understand what is known about the T.W. Kambule National Science and Technology Forum in this case, its importance and it recognizing such amazing work from scholars.
So I think when they say the science Oscars, you know, and you can really think of the Oscars, even international, what that means. That's how big it is. It is really about recognizing the work that the researchers in South Africa are doing within different disciplines. And not only that, most importantly, the impact of the work that they are doing. So it is really there to say that we are not saying that we are just doing the research in your different institution, in your laboratory, but there is really the impact in the work that we are doing, or potential impact in a way that it's work that can go beyond just research, work that has a great potential to actually contribute positively to the growth and the development of the country. And most of it also is not just potential, it's work that is already out there, work that is already contributing to some of the challenges that we're experiencing in the country, societal challenges and all of that.
Yeah, and indeed. And speaking of the work that is already out there and this potential, your research focuses on applying circular economy principles to mitigate environmental impact.
Yeah.
Let's talk more a little bit on that. You know, I know you've always, your department, you're an HOD at chemical engineering, and circular economy is one key topic
yes.
there.
Yes.
that I really interested in. Can you kind of take me through this project specifically, what you're really focusing on, what is circular economy and the environmental impact that we're looking at?
So, really to define circular economy, I would say that it's the name itself, circular. You think of a cycle, right?
Yeah.
So what is currently happening, and maybe also to mention that circular systems is systems that are developing in South Africa. We are not really there in terms of that discipline, if I should call it that. But it's really looking at what is happening and closing the loop. So I will give an example also to say that maybe if you're looking into, say, let's take waste. Yeah. But also just to clarify that circular economy, when we're talking circular economy, is not synonym to waste management, is not a synonym also to recycling. Because sometimes, most of the times, people tend to actually, confuse it to say that if I say circular economy, I'm talking about waste management, I'm talking about recycling and all of that. So the circularity that I'm talking about here, or in terms of the work that we are doing, is really closing that loop to say that if you have a linear system where you have an input, there's an output to that. So currently, that is what is happening, and in many sectors, you have an input, you have an output. When you're talking circular economy or circular system, is when now you're beginning to close that loop. And if I can give an example in industry, let's look at mining sector. Mining sector, the main goal there is a mine, a company to mine, extract minerals and all that. So that is the main focus. We are extracting minerals, we are processing ore from underground. The main goal, if it's a gold mining company, is for me to get a gold bar, right? So the focus is not really on the output from that system. And one of the outputs from that system which contributes negatively to our environment, it will be what you call gold tailings or gold dams as we know them. So within South Africa, not even South Africa, within Johannesburg, if you actually are driving towards the east, even west side, you actually see dams. They look like mountains, but so if you have not been or you're not exposed to that, you'll think that, oh, these are just small mountains in the middle of, the society, in the middle of an environment and all that. So those are tailings that are actually generated from processing, an example, processing of gold. So now if we're talking circular economy or circular system in that, yes, the focus might be for us to get that gold bar at the end of that. But the question now comes that what do we do with this waste that we are generating? And we're now looking into a system that will close that loop to say that the waste that we are generating here should actually not be waste. And there's a talk that I did, TED talk that I did, where it was themed waste to wealth. And I said that it is a developing system in South Africa. In other countries, there is no term such as waste, because whatever that is being generated from these systems becomes a resource or an input to other processes. So it's basically what we are doing in our research, what I'm doing in my research, to say that with all this waste that is generated by different industries, there's value in that. It's not necessarily waste. We can actually convert that to value-added products that can be used as raw materials and be inputs to some processes. So this is really from the perspective of waste that is being generated. But circularity or circular economy is really also about, I think, the system thinking, to say that not only about the waste, but how do we actually have regenerative systems for businesses, for industries that are still developing. At the point of me establishing a business, there should be a system thinking or regenerative systems to say that we need to avoid generating the waste. At the point of me designing a system, I should actually begin to think of, if I am going to produce type of A, B, C waste, what do I do with that waste, So it's all of that. And even within organizations, to say that, how do we even bring circularity in that, to ensure that there is sustainability in everything? It's not only about the tangible waste that you will see, but even systems within organization, to say that, how do we close the loops, And maybe an example will be, how do we maximize resources? How do we ensure that within this particular system, whatever that is coming in and whatever that is coming out, we are not really, there's no wastage in whatever form, not only in waste, in whatever form, we are actually maximizing resources. We are actually doing things in a sustainable manner. And I think the bigger picture is also to say that once we do that, we are able to live the world that we live in, or the earth that we live in a better way. We are not the last people to live here. There's a generation that is coming after us. And most of these waste that I've dealt with over the years is waste that is really contaminating our environment. Is waste that you are going back to the example of gold dams or tailings. You see it there as this mountain or these tailings, but the reality is that you look at that during windy seasons. I mean, the dust that comes out from there, it's already polluting our environment, it's polluting our air. If it rains, whatever that flows from there, it actually ends up in our water streams and contaminating our drinking water. it is already polluting the soil that it might be around that particular area. And I think the most important thing also is that most of this waste is not just solid waste as you see it. It's actually waste that is contaminated with all other pollutants. But pollutants that you cannot see with your naked eyes, you know. So it is really that. I hope I've answered that, just really to give a comprehensive understanding to say that circularity is not about recycling, it's not about waste management. We already have systems that we are managing waste. But how do we begin to close that loop? To say that I think ultimately the goal will be to the point where we get to a phase where we are no longer generating waste, where industries are no longer generating waste, but through their processes, they're actually able to put in systems to ensure that they are, if it's air that is being generated from or emitted from their systems, they're able to reduce that. If it is waste, they're actually able, they're redesigning their systems to ensure that we are not, they are not producing such waste.
You even made me reflect, you know, as you drive maybe along the N1, you can see there's tailings as you are naming them. I thought, okay, I didn't think they're mountains, but I was like, what are these things?
Yes.
And like now I know, I'm like, okay, wow. And it also aligns with the Sustainable Development Goals, as you said, that we are not the last ones to live on this earth.
Yeah.
Therefore, we need the future generations to also find it in good standing. And sticking on that, Prof, in your research, what are some of the examples that you have for us in terms of using industrial waste to create new products?
The moment I start talking about my research, I get excited because it is really the work that I'm doing. It is really exciting. It is exciting, and I will give a few examples of the work that we have been doing over the years. I think the one that is very close to my heart, we've actually developed a provisional patent from using waste found through sand and plastic waste to make building and construction material. And I was actually sharing this with someone even yesterday to say that there is, especially in the area of waste tires, it's a massive problem in South Africa. In that particular industry, we have actually worked with waste tires and we made shoe polish from that. Shoe polish, and you think of the market for that, you can really think of the high school, primary school learners that would use the shoe polish. We have actually made that from waste material. And so the plastic waste and solid waste a project that we have been doing, it has a great potential to solve so many challenges in South Africa, where that material, the building and construction material, can actually really be used as a material that can address human settlement issues, human settlement and low house issues. And because we know, I mean, in South Africa alone, the backlog for people for housing in South Africa we are already talking millions of people, a population that is waiting for houses in South Africa. And we need to begin to look at in ways that how can we best address such a challenge. And the other challenge that is also something that it has been in my mind for some time, because we were having such a conversation last week. Yes. The issue of shacks in South Africa, I think now and then, come winter time or even like any time during the year, you'll hear that in whatever area there were shacks that just burned. People lost their lives. So this material that we have developed, particularly where the one that we have actually developed a provisional patent for, we actually tested the material. We've done some of the work, even though we still have to do some rigorous tests before it can actually go to the point where you commercialize it. But it is a material that has a potential to address that specific need, where the material itself, it will take longer to burn if it burns at all, because we really subjected it to high temperatures, and the change in the material, it did not really change much. So it means that if we can have something like that really being used to address that human settlement problem, it's not only a housing problem that is going to be addressed, but the lives are going to be saved. Looking at really the records of how many shacks burn on a yearly basis and how many people lose their lives. And not only that, you really think of the jobs that such products will create, because you're looking at it's a new economy. It's economic. It's a new economy. It's a green economy that we are bringing in. And I think the bigger picture, when you're talking circular economy, it is exactly there to say that it is an economy that is developing, but it's also a new economy that can contribute to the economy and the GDP of this country. So there's a great potential also to say that, we can also create so many jobs. And really, that circularity, it comes back to say that, wow, now we are not only solving that problem, we're not solving the waste problem, we're not addressing a societal issue. It becomes a secular thing now to say that there are so many other societal problems that we are experiencing as a country. Here is a solution. We had a conversation with someone, even yesterday, to say that South Africa, we don't have problems with skills, we don't have problems with innovation. But one of the challenges that especially with something like this, an economy like this that is developing, there are no policies in place to ensure that let this really contribute to the development of the country. And someone told me the other day that they've actually used waste tires and whatever waste to make building bricks. Then when they went to get certification for that, there was no standard to test that particular material. So the circularity comes back again to say that I'm in the academic sector. How do we as an academic sector begin to actually develop skills and empower our nation, create awareness to ensure that we are actually adding value and we are closing that loop? And it's simple things. Am I calling it simple? But it's simple things that are doable. They are not things that are far-fetched. We have solutions that have been developed by researchers, many researchers, whether in academic or private institutions, research institutions. They've developed solutions that right away can be uptaken by the market. But there's just no system for many of these products to actually go there. And because circular economy is an economy that is developing, you can really think of, I get excited by waste. Literally, I see waste, I get excited. So it means that every single time I see a waste, it might be a different waste. And I'm just excited. I want to really get hold of the waste. I want to see what I can do with that waste and add value to that waste. So we think of it that if there were to be a new product that is developed from different waste, there should be something, there should be a system that will enable that to say that, yes, it's a new product, you're developing different products from different waste materials that can actually add value to our economy. What is that enabling system? In terms of standards, so that is something that is lacking, but we are actually working towards that. We hopefully we will get that right. I had an honor also to serve in a committee where we were developing a strategy for one of the government institution, strategy for the science, technology, and innovation for circular economy in South Africa. We hopeful that will be launched probably sometime this year, if not early next year. But there are conversations that are already happening in different platforms. I think people that are making decision makers, they are seeing that there is an economy that can develop from what we will maybe theme as waste in South Africa. And hopefully that, there's going to be something that fast-track that to the point where we really begin to see these products getting into our market. And not only that, but solving real pressing issues in our societies.
And indeed. I was about to ask the role that maybe, especially researchers and academia, in influencing policymakers to ensure that we actually do get those products. Because as you're saying, if we can have a shoe polish just from an old tire, that is really amazing. That is really amazing work. And amongst policy, amongst other challenges, of course, as you said, policy is one. What are some of the challenges that you faced? Because quoting you here, you did mention, I'm going to read the quote actually.
Yeah.
You said, pursuing innovative research has taught me the importance of high quality work and steadfast determination to pave the way for progress, even in the face of adversity. So, of course, right now my focus is what adversity in this project did you face? Of course, there's a lot. You came out victorious and high quality work. But what adversities are there despite the policy? What other challenges were there?
I think really, let me keep to research and my professional, because there are many
you have social life,
challenges.
true.
There are many
You're also a human
challenges
being,
in that space, really, and because I mean I'm a woman in the
true.
STEMI,
And a mother.
you know,
Yeah.
and a mother and a wife and so many things. I mean the hours that I need to spend in the lab and really sacrificing so much. Families have to sacrifice for me to show up the way I show up.
Yeah.
But I think really when talking to the research aspect of it is also what I've already touched on, to say that these are new things that are happening. I remember I always joke about it now and then. When we actually started with this work, where we did not know then, personally I did not know then that this is actually circular economy. I was bothered. I used to work in the mining industry. So I was bothered by these tailings that I mentioned at the beginning. So I always went, and I was very young, but I always wondered that this is wrong. There should be a way this tailings can be used for something else. Or we need to get rid of these tailings. How do you get rid of this?
True.
And I think that question is what actually also inspired me to pursue my doctoral studies.
Yes.
My PhD was basically in that, even though it was not on gold tailings, I actually focused on a material called phosphogypsum, which is a massive problem also in South Africa. It's a radioactive material, it's polluting our environment. But in that particular project, what I did was actually to remove the radionuclides that are in that material and render that material safe to be used for different applications. In this case, it was for building and constructions. And I actually found that based on the properties of this treated metal or stabilized material, I could use that for road construction. You know, so it's actually there that it's the problem that the work that I did or I've been doing over the years, it was very inspired. The inspiration behind that was that I was just pushed that there's a problem that needs to be addressed. How do I go about actually addressing this problem? I was saying that I was not, back then we did not know that there is secular, I mean, this is secular economy. But I think as really is developing that this is where we are. And there's still a long way to go, but with the work that we are doing and with the work that so many other researchers are doing in South Africa and in the world, because we do tap in really from the international knowledge, we will get there eventually.
We will.
Yeah.
We will.
Yeah.
At this rate and the passion that you are having and having at the forefront, we're all picking you. and speaking of you being at the forefront, your department is doing amazing stuff, chemical engineering, and I'm trying to locate this to the role maybe that students can also play and understanding circular economy. As you said, there's somehow misunderstood at some point. So in an academic space and having leadership of your quality, being at the forefront of this, we just did recently, you all are doing amazing. The importance of research from students in understanding circular economy. What would you say about that?
Yeah, I would say that maybe just to also just add on the previous question is that so with all of those challenges and really not knowing that this is circular economy and being pushed by the challenges that you are seeing on a daily basis and really wanting to do that. So when we started that, it was very difficult. It was a challenge because you are starting something new. No one really understands what you're trying to do, you know. Even if you go out there to the industry, back then you'll go to the industry, you approach them that, okay, you have this problem, I know your industry, this is the problem that you are experiencing. We can actually do 1, 2, 3 with the waste that you're generating. And I was like, oh, you know. So it actually took, I think it took some time to get where we are. And because this is a developing economy, I don't know if there's resistance or what, and I'll give you an example why I'm saying that. There is actually one product that we have developed in our laboratory which can completely replace cement, like your Portland cement that we know it for building and construction. And when we actually tested this, it had similar properties like your cement. We went to the industry. That was during COVID or prior COVID. We went to the industry. It was a cement production industry sector. We were so excited about this. But
the reception was not what you...
Yes, it was not that, because now you're beginning to compete with other people in the space.
Yeah.
But if we, I think that also the thinking system of people to say that But guys, there's a bigger problem here. It's not even about this particular industry. There's climate change, the issues of global warming. If there are really circular economy principles, systems that can be developed, I think someone needs to take themselves from, this is about profit. There's a bigger problem. There's an earth that we need to protect. So I think really it's also the circularity I'm talking about. That thinking to say that, okay, if there's a new product that might be made from unconventional material, how do we even make people understand, people that are in that sector, to even understand that, hey, there's actually something that is not only about profit. There's something that is secular, is solving so many problems. So for me specifically, with the students that I'm supervising, like undergraduate and postgraduates, and even the students that I'm teaching, because I teach honor students a module that is very close to my research. Also, I teach advanced environmental engineering. I actually have a topic, a chapter on circular economy. It's very exciting. So it is actually there to say that it will take some time for us to even develop programs. Someone was telling me that you want to read about circular economy. There is no program in South Africa where you are actually enrolled and really study about circular economy, learn about circular economy.
Yeah.
And because systems like that to develop programs may take longer, what I also believe in is really doing what you can with what you have, where you are in the environment that you are. For me, I believe that we can even begin with short learning programs. Short learning programs that, an example will be that you develop a process or a technology, a circular process to convert waste tires and the edge from that process to a shoe polish. Let's not wait for so many other things to happen. Begin to have programs, short learning programs, so you can already upskill people, share knowledge, skill people in that space, and really begin to contribute to the economy. So it's actually there to say that, I mean, the subject of sustainable development goals, sustainability, societal impact, it does not need a program, a full program for that. In whatever that we are doing in our modules, I always say that if you are a teacher, you are a lecturer, you need to somehow teach that in your module. Because everything that we are doing in our daily basis, it has to be sustainable. It does not matter the discipline, does not matter the module that we are teaching, the program that we are in. It has to be that how do you find, with whatever you already have, the curriculum that you already have, I think anything, if you have to really bring it to the South African context, you'll actually find that every module, there is a need for circular economy. There is a need for sustainability. So we can actually begin from there. We don't have to wait for full programs, 3-year program that can address that. But it is in our classroom. When I show up in my classroom, let's talk about sustainable development goals. Let's talk about sustainability. Let's talk about all these systems or economies that are developing, and empower our students to know that, so that when they show up out there as graduates, they are sustainable engineers. I always say that. From the engineering discipline, they need to be sustainable engineers, not just an engineer.
It does actually goes back to the system of thinking. You know, you must think beyond what you're actually getting, comprehend and critically understand the society and the environment that you're living in.
100%.
And as you're speaking about circular economy, it brings that thought to me to say, especially in the townships where we come from, we always do have people that use waste to create these amazing products. And for me to now, that's sort of circular economy there, because people make beads, people make a lot of bags and a lot of stuff from the waste that they're exposed to in the township, which is really amazing. And it starts there.
Definitely, it starts there, and because it's not, circular economy is not something that is far there, you know. It's not like something that is far to be reached. You are correct by just highlighting that there are people that are already doing that, but maybe they're not framing it as circular economy, you know. So it is actually also there to say that, okay, with the work that is already happening within our societies, how do we bring all of that together, you know? And if one person has a skill, how do we somehow upgrade that skill in a way that we can actually run such programs nationally, roll it out nationally, and solve some of the challenges at the national level, not just somewhere in a corner in a township.
And for me, it's just the policies again, which of course we still need to exert enough pressure and to educate people that we do need to elevate our communities based on this circular economy that we have. And Prof, of course, you are kicking off our Women of the Month edition of, so this whole month of August we're going to be having females, and we're starting with you because of you're an award winner, of course, and
such an honor.
Yeah. I didn't even say congratulations for your award, but I did mention off
thank
air.
you.
Yeah, Prof. So what would be your message to young women or even women out there about that are aspiring to be researchers and scientists as we are now approaching the Women's Month? This is their month. What is your word of encouragement to them?
I would say that there are many, many problems that we are experiencing as a country. Yeah. There are many problems in our societies. Research is not, I think it has stopped being research for doing research, you know. It has stopped being doing a master's for the sake of having a master's, a PhD for the sake of being in a red gown and a title. Mm-hmm. We are really experiencing pressing and urgent problems that needs to be solved. And really looking at South Africa and women being in a majority in the population, I think that it is that conducting research should be encouraged, and not really for the sake of doing it, but understanding that there are actually problems that we need to. If you're an engineer, you need to be in a lab coat, go to the lab, investigate solutions to those problems. And I think if we begin to see research in that way, so many other challenges will be addressed. Challenges of extremely high unemployment rate in South Africa. If we can actually look at research to say that let it be research that is really addressing and solving real challenges in our societies, I don't think the high unemployment rate will be where it is now. And I always say that you look at academic institutions, there are businesses that are just packed in dissertations and theses. And if we were to change, it is a system also, if we were to change how we treat and look at research, we'll actually understand that it should not just be research. I cannot just sit and decide, okay, let me just give you this topic. If we have that collaboration and there is no gap, also the working in silos, if there is really, we close that gap, the research that we'll be doing in our laboratory spaces will be research that addressing the real challenges in the industries. So we need to get to the point where there's also that collaboration. That's what academic institutions should actually do when it comes to research. The industry should be able to trust us enough to say that we are experiencing 1, 2, 3. What is the solution? Then we come to our laboratory spaces and our research spaces, we investigate, you come up with solutions for that particular industry. And we can really think of that, I mean, if it is students, postgraduate students, undergraduate students that is involved in that project, and we are developing something new, probably chances of that students being the one that is actually asked to go and lead the project in the industry, they're almost, 100%. That automatically addresses the issue of a very high unemployment rate in South Africa. So I think is that women, we have the abilities, we have the capabilities to actually be the solutions that we want to see. The reality is that we're experiencing challenges, many challenges, and they really need us as women to raise our hands first. Yeah. Recognize that, yes, you can do it. Yes, you are able to do that. And there are so many women that have gone ahead of us, There are women that are ready to hold your hand, but you need to raise your hand to say that I am here, I want to be a researcher, how do I do it? And the women that have gone ahead, we also have a responsibility to say that, oh yes, NSTF winner, who is coming after me, who is the next NSTF winner that I'm actually willing, or I'm being intentional about it, to transfer skills, to equip, and ensure that the work that they're doing also in the next years to come is a work that can be seen or actually be awarded as being impactful work that can solve some of the problems in our country.
Trust me, I hear you, especially when you call for the end of having our researchers in libraries.
Yeah.
Now it's about the impact, you know, and that for a young female or a woman who's listening now, it calls for a groundbreaking research that speaks to our contemporary problems, and that's what makes research exceptional now.
Yeah.
If you have a solution to the problems that we're having, like look at you now, you're a woman, you are a winner of the NSTF, which is a big and a prestigious award. You of course won an emerging award for emerging researcher. You also got a ranking from.
Oh yes.
Been following you around.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Which is really congratulations for that.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, and where to from here, Prof? Of course, the impact is bigger, and I can tell with the passion that you have for the industry and for the academic space. Where do you see your project going from here, and what are your plans as well in the near future?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and it's a work that we have been doing over the years, and I think work that we have been doing more than a decade, if I should say that. And I think research-wise, the foundation, we have laid a solid foundation. For me, I've touched on the provisional patent that we have developed, is to really to see this work now really being implemented to solve the problems that we are talking about, you know. So for me, for now, that is the focus we are actually taking in our research, to say that, yes, we have developed this, we have actually worked with this material, we have done so many things with this material. How do we now take that, commercialize that? So that is a big step in my journey as a researcher, to say that with all the work that we have done, exciting work, the shoe polish project is a very exciting one. But if it just remains in that report, it becomes that an exciting idea, an exciting project. How do we take that and really put systems in place to ensure that we are able to get to the point where we are commercializing that? So it's also the thinking, the circularity beyond the research that we are doing, to say that should we now begin to commercialize some of these solutions, all the challenges that are going to be resolved, not only in the environmental aspect, how many jobs are going to be created from that. That is directly now really addressing some of the societal challenges in our country. So it is basically there to now begin to create systems, collaborate with the people that we need to collaborate with, who are really instrumental and will add value to the work that we are doing. And some people are the people that we have to collaborate with, because they will really knock on some of the doors, and where decisions are made, for us to be able to now translate the work that we've been doing over the years to real solutions now, and see it, to say that here's this work that has started in the lab, but now here's a learner, a primary school learner, they have this shoe polish, they've used this shoe polish, and here are the people within that particular community, somewhere in a village, somewhere in the urban area, that are in a manufacturing company, they are making these shoe polishes. These are the households that are benefiting from such processes. This is the family that did not have a house, but from the waste that is available, readily available, there are researchers that have made product from that, building and construction material from that. Here is a house, is standing, is a house that people now, the backlog of housing in South Africa, we are somehow reducing that, contributing towards that. And lives are changed. Not only that, but I think lives are being saved. If these material bans, there's going to be enough time for people to escape from that and really save their lives. Yeah.
I'm thinking now, and then almost closing, Prof. I always enjoy talking to you because I learn a lot. I think I also love circular economy. But as I'm listening, as you were saying, Prof, I can also imagine these would be local products from local waste and these other materials. So therefore, pricing also may be affordable for a child who's in a township, who's in a remote area. Access becomes better. and because it's produced here. But of course, it is a different topic on its own. But in closing, I would like to also try and locate how institution, government, and private sector can also kind of contribute to us seeing this like maybe products being commercialized and seeing the growth of circular economy.
I've already touched on this to say that there are already conversations, there are already processes that have started where there are strategies that are being developed. But it is there to say that, yes, I mean, to develop a policy, it takes some time to get to that. For me, what will be important is that while we are waiting for all these policies to be developed, what are we doing in the meantime? So I think the enabling environment is what will be important. I gave an example about someone that has a product, but there are no standards to test that product. And now that becomes a barrier to get that product to the market. Because, for instance, I'll give an example. Now that I have this building and construction material from unconventional raw materials, I go to a builder, I go to your retailer shop, warehouses. The very first thing that they will need to even consider that product, they will want a certificate. So if there's no system in place to actually give that certificate, so I think it's there this conversation that people that make decisions in different divisions, different departments, they need to come together and really acknowledge that there is money, if I should, there is wealth in this developing economy, circular economy systems. But how do we provide an enabling environment for us to be able to ensure that there are no barriers in place?
Barriers.
Yeah.
As you said, it's waste to wealth. There is money there. Yes. Definitely. Well, Prof, thank you so much for coming through. It's always an honor and an informative conversation for me when I have you in studio. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's really an honor to be here.
Thank you, Prof. Well, this was Prof Mashifana, the HOD of Chemical Engineering here at the University of Johannesburg, and she is an award winner of the NSTF. Trust me, her message to you as a young woman watching us in this August, which is your month, is that you can make it. Think beyond the gown. Think more on impact that we can change our societies and develop our societies to become better. My name is Bongani. See you on the next episode.